Welcome to this edition of Ethical Sustainable Investment News and Analysis to Profit By. I'm Ron Robbins, an ethical investing pioneer for over 40 years, quoted in the Wall Street Journal, MarketWatch, the Globe and Mail, and numerous other media, and founder of the highly respected global ethical sustainable investing information website, Investing for the Soul. And please listen to my disclaimer statement at the end of this podcast. Now enjoy this podcast. Hello, Ron Robbins here. Welcome to my podcast, episode 93, published on November 4th, 2022, titled The Winning ESG Companies, and presented by Investing for the Soul. Investingforthesoul.com is your site for vital global ethical and sustainable investing mentoring, news, commentary, information, and resources. Remember that you can find a full transcript and links to content, including stock symbols and bonus material, on this episode's podcast page located at investingforthesoul.com/podcasts. Now, if any terms are unfamiliar to you, simply Google them. Also, a reminder, I do not evaluate any of the stocks or funds mentioned in these podcasts, nor do I receive any compensation from anyone covered in these podcasts. Furthermore, I will reveal to you any personal investments I have in the investments mentioned herein. Additionally, quotes about individual companies are brief, so that I can get as many companies covered as possible in the time allowed. Please go to this podcast's webpage for links to the actual articles, where you will find much more great company information. Now, the content of this first article will likely interest most of you. It's titled 11 Best ESG Dividend Stocks to Buy According to Gore, and found on yahoo.com. It's by Vada Gill. Al Gore is a former U.S. Vice President, Nobel Peace Prize winner, and well known for his environmental advocacy and investment management skills. He co-founded Generation Investment Management. Here's some of what Mr. Gill has to say. Incidentally, quoted dividend yields are as of October 28th. For this list, we selected stocks from Generation Investment Management's 13F portfolio, that's a hedge fund, as of Q2 2022. Moreover, these companies pay dividends to shareholders. The stocks are ranked according to their stake values in the hedge fund's portfolio. Starting with number 11, Microchip Technology Incorporated. Generation Investment Management's, hereafter abbreviated GIMS, stake value $76,630,000. Microchip Technology Incorporated is an Arizona-based manufacturing company that specializes in microcontrollers, mixed signal, and other related circuits. It currently pays a quarterly dividend of 30.1 cents per share and has a dividend yield of 1.94%. 10. The Cooper Companies, Inc. GIMS stake value $394,222,000. The Cooper Companies currently pays a quarterly dividend of 1.5 cents per share with a dividend yield of 0.02%. 9. Carlyle Companies Incorporated. GIMS stake value $408 million and $39,000. Carlyle Companies Incorporated is an Arizona-based manufacturing company that specializes in a wide range of products, including optical fibers and defense electronics. It pays a quarterly dividend of 75 cents per share and has a dividend yield of 1.24%. 8. Thermo Fisher Scientific Inc. GIM's stake value $486,718,000. Thermo Fisher Scientific is an American supplier of scientific instruments, reagents, and other software products. It currently pays a quarterly dividend of 30 cents per share with a dividend yield of 0.24%. 7. Intel Corporation. GIM's stake value $552,560,000. Intel Corporation is an American multinational semiconductor company that also specializes in cloud computing and data centers. It currently pays a quarterly dividend of 36.5 cents per share and has a dividend yield of 5.19%. 6. Applied Materials Inc. GIM's stake value $555,224,000. Applied Materials is a California-based manufacturing company that supplies services and software for the manufacturing of semiconductor chips. The stock has a dividend yield of 1.19%. 5. Analog Devices Inc. GIM's stake value $649,049,000. Analog Devices is an American semiconductor manufacturing company that specializes in data conversion, signal processing, and power management technology. It has a quarterly dividend of 76 cents per share and a dividend yield of 2.13%. 4. Becton Dickinson and Company. GIM's stake value $789,414,000. Becton Dickinson and Company is a New Jersey-based multinational medical device company. It pays a quarterly dividend of 87 cents per share with a dividend yield of 1.49%. 3. The Charles Schwab Corporation. GIM's stake value $800,177,000. The Charles Schwab Corporation is a Texas-based financial services company that offers investment and commercial banking services to its consumers. The stock has a dividend yield of 1.11%. 2. Baxter International Inc. GIM's stake value $836,163,000. Baxter International is an American multinational healthcare company that specializes in kidney diseases and other chronic conditions. It currently pays a quarterly dividend of 29 cents per share and has a dividend yield of 2.09%. And 1. Equifax Inc. GIM's stake value $850,637,000. Equifax, a Georgia-based credit bureau company, last year announced that it would achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2040. It currently pays a quarterly dividend of 39 cents per share and has a dividend yield of 0.94%. End quotes. This next article is also fascinating. You'll see in a moment. It's titled Top 12 ESG Companies in 2022 on yahoo.com by Fahad Salim. Here are some quotes from Mr. Salim. For this article, we used the latest data sets of Just Capital, a not-for-profit founded in 2013 by popular individuals like billionaire Paul Tudor Jones, Deepak Chopra, Rinaldo Butoco, Arianna Huffington, Paul Scilia, Alan Fleischman, among others. Just Capital ranks the largest U.S. companies based on their performance related to issues concerning environment, workers, customers, communities, and shareholders. We focused more on the environmental aspect of the ESG matrix of these companies. Starting with number 12, Exelon Corporation. Exelon Corporation is an Illinois-based utilities services company that owns nuclear, fossil, wind, hydroelectric, biomass, and solar generating facilities, but claims to be the largest producer of zero-carbon electricity in the U.S. 11. PepsiCo Inc. in January last year announced that it plans to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions across its supply chain by 2040. 10. Cisco Systems Inc. in September last year, Cisco Systems Inc. announced plans to reach net zero emissions across all scopes by 2040. 9. Verizon Communications Inc. in 2019, it became the first U.S. telecom company to issue a green bond. The offering raised about $1 billion in net proceeds. Verizon Communications has announced plans to generate renewable energy equivalent to 50% of its annual electricity consumption by 2025. 8. NVIDIA Corporation. The company says it's building a digital version of our planet on which it'll apply its AI and omniverse technologies to predict weather changes and their effects over a span of several decades. NVIDIA Corporation GPUs will also be used to power the Department of Energy's supercomputer called Kestrel, which is dedicated to advanced energy solutions. 7. Apple Inc. has an ambitious goal to become carbon neutral by 2030. 6. PayPal Holdings Inc. Payments giant PayPal Holdings Inc. announced last year that it plans to reach net zero emissions by 2040. 5. Bank of America Corporation has set a goal of achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. 4. Salesforce Inc. announced in September 2021 that it achieved net zero residual emissions across its full value chain and met its 100% renewable energy goals for its operations. 3. Microsoft Corporation plans to become carbon neutral by 2030. By 2050, Microsoft plans to remove the historical emissions it created since its founding. 2. Intel Corporation. Earlier this year, Intel Corporation announced plans to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions across its global operations by 2040. 1. Alphabet Inc. Class A is the top ESG company in 2022 thanks to the billions of dollars worth of ESG-related investments and ambitious goals it has to set for the betterment of the environment. In its 2022 ESG report, the parent of Google said that it issued a whopping $5.75 billion in sustainability bonds, easily surpassing all peers in the industry. End quotes. Now to the first of our two company ranking lists. The reviewing article is titled IBD's 100 Best ESG Companies for 2022. It appears on investors.com and is by Kathleen Dola. Now some quotes from Ms. Dola. Topping the list this year is Worthington Industries. J.B. Hunt Transport Services took second place, and rounding out the top three is data analytics provider Verisk Analytics. All 100 companies on our 2022 list ranked in the top 15% of Dow Jones ESG scores and had an IBD composite rating of 81 or better, that's on a scale of 1 to 99, as of August 31st. Technology behemoths Texas Instruments and Apple finished 4th and 5th respectively. End quotes. The second company ranking also has an intriguing background. It's called the Humankind 100. And this list is found on their site, humankind.co. That's .co. Here are some quotes from their site. The Humankind 100 list is compiled annually by the research team at Humankind Investments, an investment manager whose mission is to invest in the manner that is best for humanity. You can learn more about the Humankind Value Methodology by visiting our research or articles pages. And there are links there. Humankind 100 companies tend to contribute positively to humanity. For example, by providing access to food, clean water, healthcare, or free digital services. End quotes. Incidentally, though Humankind purports a unique methodology, they arrive at pretty much the same companies as most other best company ESG lists. Nonetheless, they have an interesting concept that will appeal to many ethical and sustainable investors. Their top 5 companies are Alphabet Inc., Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer Inc., AbbVie Inc., and Verizon Communications Inc. Now back to a favorite sector with this article. It's titled, Investing in Green Energy, Here are the Top 5 Stock Picks. That's on londonlovesbusiness.com. It's by LLB Finance Reporter. Here are some brief quotes with their picks. With the green energy industry continually expanding, Maxim Mantaroff, head of investment advice at Freedom Finance Europe, explores which companies are promising investment choices within the sector. He chooses Tesla, Plug Power, Enphase Energy, Sunrun, and First Solar. End quotes. Finally, we have this article titled, Capital Keeps Flowing into Green Bonds Despite Inflation Challenges, by Ben Hernandez on ETFtrends.com. Here's some of what Mr. Hernandez says. One option for fixed income investors looking for ESG bond exposure who also want the yield that corporate bonds can offer is the Vanguard ESG US Corporate Bond ETF. Additionally, the fund doesn't command a high premium with its low expense ratio of 0.12% and a 30-day SEC yield of 5.51% as of October 17th. This bond fund seeks to track the performance of the Bloomberg MSCI US Corporate SRI Select Index, which excludes bonds with maturities of 1 year or less and with less than $750 million outstanding, and it is screened for certain ESG criteria by the index provider, which is independent of Vanguard. The fund has a discerning screener. This adds an air of purity for the fund's holdings, avoiding any greenwashing with a keen focus on environmental, social, and governance ESG initiatives. Its highlights: provides debt issues screened for certain ESG criteria, specifically excludes bonds of companies that the index sponsor determines are involved in and or derive threshold amounts of revenue from certain activities or business segments related to adult entertainment, alcohol, gambling, tobacco, nuclear weapons, controversial weapons, conventional weapons, civilian firearms, nuclear power, genetically modified organisms, or thermal coal, oil, or gas. It excludes bonds of companies that, as determined by the index sponsor, do not meet certain standards defined by the index sponsor's ESG Controversies Assessment Framework, as well as firms that fail to have at least one woman on their boards. End quotes. Now, one other honourable mention, title Top 5 Renewable Energy Stocks for Q4 2022 on Forbes.com by Q.ai. And there's a Canadian article, title 10 Best ESG ETFs in Canada for Ethical Investing in 2022 on SavvyNewCanadians.com by Enoch Omololu. And I have even an article from India, titled Best ESG Funds in India, How Are They Different from Other Mutual Funds? On indmoney.com. Well, these are my top news stories with their stock and fund tips for this podcast, the Winning ESG Companies. Now, please be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you download or listen to this podcast. That helps bring these podcasts to others like you. And please click the share buttons to share this podcast with your friends and family. Let's promote ethical and sustainable investing as a force for hope in these terribly troubled times. Contact me if you have any questions. Thank you for listening. Talk to you next on November 18th. Bye for now. Learn how to create a simple portfolio reflecting your personal values by taking my 1-hour tutorial. Go to investingforthesoul.com/podcasts and click the link in the right-hand column for my DIY Ethical Sustainable Investing Pays tutorial. Now, I'll mention in the podcast if I have any direct interest or holdings in companies or securities I'm talking about. Furthermore, any news, opinions, analysis, or other information offered by myself, as well as references and information to or from other external sources in this podcast, is provided as general market information and should not be relied upon and thus does not constitute investment advice. Investors should consult their own licensed investment professional before making investments. Also, I will not accept liability for any loss or damage, including without limitation any loss of profit, which may arise directly or indirectly from use of or reliance on information in this podcast. Do contact me at ronr@investingforthesoul.com. Signing off, this is Ron Robbins.